Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in life when the weight of your tears feels heavier than your faith, when the pain of your nights makes you question if morning will ever come. But I came to tell you those tears are not the end of your story. They are the raw material of your testimony. What broke you is about to bless you. What crushed you is about to crown you. And what made you weep is about to make you shout with joy. Stay right here, because God is about to turn your tears into testimonies. And when life has brought you to the place where your pillow has been soaked with tears, where your heart has been broken into pieces you didn't even know existed, it is easy to believe that this is the end of your story. It is easy to feel like the pain you're carrying will define you forever, like the sorrow that has pressed down on your soul will never lift. But I came to tell you today that God is about to take those tears and transform them into testimonies. Every sleepless night, every whispered prayer, every moment you thought nobody saw, heaven was watching. Heaven was collecting your tears, storing them as seeds that will one day bring forth a harvest of joy. And sometimes the very thing you thought would break you becomes the platform God uses to bless you. The very moment you thought you were going to drown is the moment he uses to teach you how to walk on water. Those tears were not wasted. They were watering the soil of your destiny. They were creating a foundation for a story that will not just be about your pain, but about his power. Because what you're going through is not just about you, it's about the people who will one day hear your testimony and find strength in your survival. And you see, there are seasons when it looks like all you have left are broken pieces, and you wonder, what can God do with this? But God has a way of stepping into the brokenness and building something stronger than what was there before. He doesn't just patch things up. He transforms. He doesn't just give you back what you lost. He multiplies. And the tears that once fell in sorrow will one day fall in gratitude, because you'll look back and say, if it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, I never would have made it. And the enemy wants you to believe that tears mean weakness. But the truth is, tears are often the evidence of strength. Because it takes strength to endure. It takes strength to keep showing up when life has knocked you down. It takes strength to keep believing when everything in your life screams that you should give up. Those tears are not weakness. They are a language heaven understands. They are prayers too deep for words, groans that the Spirit carries before the throne of God. And don't confuse your tears with defeat. They are the evidence that you are still in the fight. They are the proof that you have not surrendered your hope. Even if your body feels tired and your heart feels heavy, the very fact that you cry out means you still believe there is someone to cry out to. And that faith, however fragile, is the key that unlocks the transformation from tears into testimonies. And God specializes in turning mourning into dancing. He turns ashes into beauty. He takes graves and turns them into gardens. But here's the thing, you don't get the testimony without the tears. You don't get the beauty without the ashes. You don't get the miracle without the mess. That's why you can't despise the season you're in, because the very thing you think is breaking you may be the thing God is using to bless you. And the pain you are experiencing is not the end. It is the beginning of a greater chapter. What if the tears you cried last night were the last tears you would cry over that situation? What if the season of sorrow is coming to a close and joy is on the horizon? You can't see it yet, but God is working behind the scenes. He is setting things in motion that your eyes can't perceive. He is aligning opportunities, opening doors, and preparing the stage for you to stand and testify of his goodness. And your tears are about to become the proof of God's power. You're going to be able to stand before people and say, I know what it's like to be broken. I know what it's like to be rejected. I know what it's like to feel forgotten. But I also know what it's like to be restored. I also know what it's like to be lifted up. I also know what it's like to have God wipe away my tears and give me a new song to sing. And when you sing that song, somebody else who thought it was over for them is going to find the strength to keep going. And it may feel like you are still in the valley, still in the dark night, but don't let your current condition make you doubt your future position. God is not done writing your story. You are not stuck in the chapter of sorrow forever. The author of your life knows how to flip the page. And when he turns that page, everything changes. Suddenly, the tears that once blurred your vision will clear. And you'll see that every moment of pain was leading to a testimony of his grace. And there are people who look at you right now and they see the struggle, they see the hardship, they see the pain, but they don't know the glory that's about to be revealed in your life. They don't know that what you're carrying in your spirit is heavier than what you're carrying in your heart. They don't know that you are pregnant with purpose, and those tears were the labor pains of something about to be birthed in you. And your tears are not a sign of your end. They are a sign of transition. They are proof that you are shifting from where you were to where God is taking you. They are the waters breaking before the miracle is born. Don't despise them. Don't wish them away. Let them flow, because every tear is watering a testimony that will one day make sense. And there is a time appointed, Ted, when the same people who saw you cry will see you celebrate. The same people who saw you struggle will see you shine. The same ones who whispered about your pain will have to watch your promotion. And when it happens, you won't even have bitterness in your heart, because God has a way of healing you so deeply that your testimony carries no trace of the tears it took to get there. And so if you're in the middle of the night season, don't give up. If you're still crying, don't despair. Joy is coming. Breakthrough is on the way. God has not forgotten you. He has not overlooked you. Every tear is accounted for. Every sigh is heard. Every heartbreak is known. And he is weaving it all together into a story that will one day bring him glory and bring you joy. And your tears are about to be turned into testimonies that will speak louder than your pain ever did. They will stand as evidence that you are not defined by what you went through, but by the God who brought you through. You will not just survive, you will thrive. You will not just come out. You will come out stronger, wiser, and more anointed than before. And when you open your mouth to testify, the sound of victory will drown out the echo of your tears. But let me remind you, what looks like the greatest setback is often the setup for your greatest comeback. The pain you've endured is not the conclusion of your story. It is the preparation for a chapter filled with glory. God does not waste a season, and he does not overlook a soul. Every battle, every bruise, every broken place is being repurposed to become a testimony so powerful that even your enemies will have to acknowledge that the Lord has been on your side. And think about it. If your tears could speak, they would tell the story of sleepless nights when you wrestled with loneliness. They would tell of the times you walked through storms that no one else even knew you were in. They would reveal how you kept standing when everything in you wanted to fall. And yet, those same tears will one day testify, not of your defeat, but of your deliverance. Because when God steps in, he doesn't just wipe away tears, he rewrites stories. And what the enemy wanted to use to bury you is the very thing God will use to build you. The pit becomes the pathway. The prison becomes the preparation. The cross becomes the crown. Don't despise what you've had to cry through, because it is shaping you into a vessel strong enough to carry the weight of what God is about to pour into your life. Some people pray for blessings but are not prepared for the weight that comes with them. But your tears have been training you. Your pain has been equipping you. Your nights of sorrow have been stretching your soul, making room for a joy so overwhelming that you won't even have space for bitterness. And the tears you cried in secret are the receipts of faith that heaven has kept. And there is a time appointed when those receipts will cash out in testimonies. When that time comes, you won't just tell people what you read in a book. You'll tell them what you lived through. You'll stand with an authority that only comes from surviving the fire. You'll speak with power because you know what it feels like to walk through the valley and not lose your mind. That kind of testimony is not borrowed, it's birthed. And hear me, your testimony is not just for you, it's for the ones watching you. Somebody is waiting for proof that God can heal a broken heart. Somebody is desperate to see that joy really does come in the morning. Somebody is praying for a sign that they too can make it out of what they are going through. And your story will become the answer to their prayers. Your survival will give them the courage to keep moving. Your breakthrough will be the roadmap for their deliverance. And that's why the enemy fought you so hard. That's why the tears wouldn't stop flowing. He wasn't just after your peace. He was after your testimony. Because once you have via testimony, you become dangerous. You can no longer be silenced. You can no longer be manipulated by fear. You can no longer be intimidated by the same storms that used to shake you, because now you know God brought you through once and he'll do it again. And if he did it before, he can do it for someone else. And the tears were temporary, but the testimony will be eternal. The pain had a season, but the purpose has no expiration date. You may have cried over betrayal, but the testimony will be loyalty greater than you imagined. You may have cried over rejection, but the testimony will be acceptance into places you never dreamed of entering. You may have cried over loss, but the testimony will be restoration, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And don't measure your future by the weight of your tears. Measure it by the power of your God. He is bigger than the storm that shook you. He is greater than the pain that broke you. He is stronger than the chains that tried to hold you. And the moment he says it's time, the very things that made you weep will become the reasons you worship. The very ground watered by your tears will blossom into the garden of your testimony. And I know it's hard to see it right now. I know it feels like nothing is changing. You're praying, but the pain remains. You're believing, but the breakthrough hasn't shown up yet. But don't confuse delay with denial. Don't mistake silence for absence. Just because you don't see God moving doesn't mean he isn't working. He is orchestrating things you don't even realize yet. He is aligning people, places, and opportunities. And when it all comes together, it will be more than worth the tears you cried to get there. And every scar will have a story. Every wound will have a witness. Every valley will become a victory. And when people ask you how you made it, you'll be able to say, I didn't make it on my own. It was the hand of God that carried me. It was the grace of God that sustained me. It was the mercy of God that lifted me up when life tried to bury me. That's when your tears will have done their job. They were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to fertilize your faith. And your testimony is in the making right now. Even while you cry, even while you question, even while you wonder if you'll ever see the other side, heaven is crafting a story that will blow your mind. The pain is real, but the promise is greater. The sorrow is deep, but the joy will overflow. You will not stay where you are forever. There is movement happening in your life. There is transition taking place in your spirit. You are shifting shifting from the chapter of tears into the chapter of testimony. And I want you to imagine it, the day when the weight lifts off your shoulders, the day when laughter returns to your lips, the day when you walk into rooms and no longer carry the heaviness of yesterday, the day when you look back at what you went through and realize it didn't break you, it built you. That day is coming. It is closer than you think. And when it arrives, you will know that every tear had purpose. Every tear was pushing you into destiny. Every tear was pointing you toward a testimony that only you could carry. And so lift your head, wipe your face, straighten your back. You're not finished. You're not forsaken. You're not forgotten. You are on the verge of something so transformative that your tears will one day feel like a small price to pay. And when the testimony comes, it will not only validate your faith, it will magnify your God. Because in the end, it won't just be about your story. It will be about His glory shining through your life. And so when you feel the heaviness of the tears that have stained your cheeks, remember, they are not the punctuation mark to your story. They are simply commas in the sentence of your destiny. You are still moving, you are still breathing, you are still being shaped. And if you are still here, it means there is something left inside of you that the world has not yet seen. There is a song you haven't sung yet, a dream you haven't lived yet, a breakthrough you haven't walked into yet. That is why your tears cannot stop you. They are only the evidence that you are on the way to something greater. And what you thought would be the end has only become the womb of your new beginning. The same way the seed must first break before life comes forth, your tears have been the breaking point that will soon give birth to your promise. You've been broken open so that the greater in you can emerge. What you thought was destruction was really construction. God has been building something in you that requires tears, because only tears can soften the soil of your heart enough to grow the roots of faith deep enough to withstand the weight of the blessing. And make no mistake about it, the blessing is coming. The testimony is already forming. The story is already being written. You may not see the full chapter yet, but you are in the middle of the process. And the process always looks messy. The process never feels comfortable. But when the process is over, the product will be worth it. Your life will become the evidence that the pain you endured had purpose and the sorrow you carried had significance. And every time you thought you were alone in your struggle, you were being watched by eyes of love that never closed. Every time you cried yourself to sleep, heaven was counting every tear. Every time you whispered, "Why me?" in the dark, God was answering, "Because I trust you with this testimony." You may not feel like you are strong enough, but the fact that you are still standing after everything you have been through is proof that strength is already inside of you. And your tears are not only being turned into testimonies, they are being turned into treasures. You will look back one day and see that the very nights you thought would kill you became the nights that birthed the strength you needed for your destiny. The things you thought were subtracting from you were actually adding to you in ways you didn't understand at the time. You thought you were losing, but you were actually gaining wisdom. You thought you were being emptied, but you were actually being filled with endurance. You thought you were breaking down, but you were actually breaking through. And when you tell the story of how you got over, people won't just admire the outcome. They'll respect the process. Because it's one thing to read about victory, it's another thing to see someone who has lived it. When they hear your testimony, they'll know it wasn't easy. They'll know you paid for it with tears. They'll know you fought for it on your knees. They'll know you pressed for it when you had nothing left but faith. And that authenticity will carry a power that no performance ever could. And so don't curse the tears. Don't despise the nights. Don't resent the journey, because everything you went through is now working for your good. The people who left you prepared you to know know who really loves you. The opportunities that slipped through your hands prepared you for the doors that were meant just for you. The heartbreak that shattered you prepared your heart to love more deeply and more wisely than before. Every tear was a teacher. Every sorrow was a sculptor. Every loss was a lesson. And now you are standing at the edge of a new season. You can feel it in your spirit. The old is passing away and something new is rising. You may not have words for it, but your tears have been the language of transition. They have been signaling that change is near, that breakthrough is coming, that something inside of you is being birthed that cannot be stopped. It may have taken longer than you thought. It may not look like what you imagined, but it is coming. And when it comes, you will know it was worth every tear. And you are about to discover that the tears of yesterday will become the triumph of tomorrow. You are about to see how pain can transform into power. You are about to experience how loss can become leverage. You are about to realize that the story you thought was over is only just beginning. And when you finally step into the fullness of what is waiting for you, the memory of your tears will not haunt you. They will humble you. They will remind you that you did not get here on your own, that grace carried you, that mercy sustained you, that love lifted you when nothing else could. And your testimony will not be polished perfection. It will be raw redemption. It will be the kind of story that doesn't hide the scars, but shows them as proof that healing is real. It will be the kind of story that doesn't erase the tears, but honors them as the evidence of transformation. It will be the kind of story that tells the world, I cried, but I came through. I was broken, but I was built back better. I was weak, but I found a strength I never knew I had. And you are walking into a season where your testimony will be louder than your tears, where your victory will speak louder than your valley, where your triumph will shine brighter than your trial. And when it happens, don't forget the journey. Don't forget the nights that brought you here. Don't forget the tears that watered this ground, because it is the memory of your tears that will keep your testimony authentic. It is the memory of your tears that will keep your heart tender. It is the memory of your tears that will allow you to reach others still in the valley and tell them, I know what it feels like, but I also know that you're coming out. And so hold your head high, even with tears still in your eyes. Walk forward, even if your steps feel heavy. Believe, even when doubt tries to scream louder, because the God who promised to turn mourning into dancing, the God who promised to exchange ashes for beauty, the God who promised to give joy for sorrow, has not forgotten you. Your tears are already being transformed. Your testimony is already being written. And the day is coming when you will look back and realize that your tears were never in vain. They were always pointing you toward your destiny. And when you finally realize that your tears were never wasted, something shifts in the way you carry yourself. You begin to understand that every cry was an investment. Every sob was a seed. Every sleepless night was a down payment on the breakthrough you are about to walk into. What once felt like weakness now feels like strength, because you know that only someone who has survived the storm can truly appreciate the sunshine. And the sunshine is coming, and there is a light about to break through the clouds of your sorrow. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it. You can sense that something inside of you has been stretched too far to go back to where you were. Tears have a way of enlarging your capacity, making space in your soul for blessings that are too big for the person you used to be. That's why it had to hurt. That's why it had to be uncomfortable. That's why it seemed like you were being stripped of everything familiar, because God wasn't just preparing a blessing for you. He was preparing you for the blessing. And you see, testimonies are not birthed in comfort. They are born in conflict. Nobody testifies about the easy days, about the smooth roads, about the effortless wins. A testimony is forged in the furnace, in the fire, in the furnace of affliction, where you wonder if you'll ever make it out. And when you do make it out, your voice carries a weight that cannot be denied. You don't just tell people that God is good, you show them. You don't just talk about hope, you embody it. Your very existence becomes proof that tears can transform into testimonies. And the weight of the tears you've cried has not been working against you. It has been working for you. It has been shaping your character, refining your faith, building your endurance. Every time you thought the tears would drown you, they were actually washing away things that could not go with you into the next season. They were cleansing your heart, purifying your motives, softening your spirit so you could carry the testimony without arrogance. Because a testimony is not just about triumph, it is about transformation. It is about who you became in the process, not just what you received at the end. And when you stand in the fullness of your testimony, you will be able to look at your scars and see them not as reminders of your pain, but as evidence of your survival. Those scars will speak louder than words. They will say, I've been through something, but I came out stronger. They will say, I faced opposition, but I wasn't destroyed. They will say, I cried in the night, but joy did come in the morning. And your scars will be the silent sermon that tells others that if God could do it for you, he can do it for them too. And the tears you cried in silence will echo in the testimonies you share in public. The places where you once whispered, I can't take this anymore, will become the very places where you shout, look at what God has done. The nights you thought you would never survive will become the memories that fuel your worship. Because you will know beyond a shadow of a doubt that you did not make it through by your own strength. You made it through because grace carried you. And let me tell you, grace is powerful enough to turn the lowest point of your life into the highest platform of your testimony. Grace can lift you from the ashes and set you among kings. Grace can take the person who thought they were forgotten and put them in front of the very people who once overlooked them. Grace can redeem years you thought were wasted and restore opportunities you thought were gone forever. Grace is the invisible hand that has been holding you up while you wept, guiding you while you wandered, strengthening you while you stumbled. And grace is about to crown your tears with testimonies that no one can take away. And you are on the verge of becoming the living evidence that pain is never the final chapter. You are about to embody the truth that sorrow is seasonal, but testimonies are eternal. The very places where you bled are the places you will one day bless others. The very places where you wept are the places where you will one day worship with greater joy than ever before. The tears you cried are about to become rivers of life that refresh not only you, but everyone connected to you. And think of it this way: the tears that watered your pillow at night have been watering the soil of your destiny. Seeds you didn't even know you planted are about to spring forth. Dreams you thought had died are about to bloom again. Prayers you thought were forgotten are about to be answered. And when the harvest comes, it will not just be for you. It will overflow into the lives of those around you, because testimonies are never just personal. They are generational. Your children, your family, your community, your friends will all be impacted by the fruit of the tears you've sown. And that's why you cannot quit now. You cannot give up just because you're still in the in-between. The in-between is the most dangerous place because it tempts you to abandon the process before the promise manifests. But hold on, endure a little longer. Push through one more night, one more tear, one more prayer, because you are closer than you think. You are nearer to the testimony than your tears want you to believe. And the moment you feel like breaking is often the moment right before the breakthrough. And I want you to see yourself already standing on the other side. See yourself testifying with joy, telling people how you cried but survived, how you were woe. Undid but healed, how you were rejected but chosen, how you were broken but built back better. Imagine the strength in your voice when you declare, if it had not been for God, I would not be here. Imagine the tears of gratitude that will flow, not tears of sorrow this time, but tears of amazement at how he turned it all around. And there is something coming that will make sense of everything you've been through. There is a joy so deep it will drown out the memory of your sorrow. There is a blessing so great it will overshadow the weight of your burden. There is a testimony so powerful it will silence the lies that said you wouldn't make it. And when it arrives, you will realize that your tears were not wasted. They were necessary. They were the pathway that led you to this place. And so lift your eyes above the pain, look beyond the tears. See with the vision of faith that your future is brighter than your past, that your testimony will be louder than your tears, and that your destiny is greater than your difficulty. You are walking into a season where what once made you cry will make you rejoice, where what once felt like loss will feel like gain, and where what once broke you will be the very thing that builds you, because your tears are about to be turned into testimonies, and when they are, your life will never be the same again.